Evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are watching us from. I am Comfort Eyitayo, your regular host for the Connect with Comfort show. On this program, we aim to add value to people on business, enterprise, and personal growth. And each show is organized to feature special guests who are subject matter experts that helps us to throw more insight into the topic of the day. We are glad you are able to join us today. You are most welcome. Today's topic is a very important topic, and the topic is on business readiness for tax. Business readiness for tax. As we are warming up towards the implementation of the four Tax Act that was recently enacted, but we are given the grace of 6 months for it to start effectively 1st of January 2026. We feel it is important to have this session to give us some important tips on how we can get our business ready for the eventuality. In every economy, tax is not just a statutory obligation, it is a partnership between businesses and government to build a sustainable future for all. However, the challenge often lies not in whether to pay tax, but in how ready they are to meet their tax responsibilities in a way that is structured, efficient, and beneficial to both compliance and growth. Business readiness for tax goes beyond filing returns at the end of the year. It involves building the right system, keeping proper records, leveraging on digital tools, and aligning our operations with tax laws and incentive. It is about turning compliance into strategy when businesses are not where businesses are not caught unprepared, but are instead proactive, informed, and positioned to take advantage of available opportunities. During this session, we hope to interrogate the topic with questions such as: are your business or businesses equipped with the right structures to handle tax compliance? Also, how can SMEs and corporate bodies alike transform tax from a burden into a growth enabler? Another one is: what practical steps can we take to ensure readiness in a constantly changing tax environment? So these questions and much more are what we'll be looking at on today's show. So I would like to encourage us to follow keenly with the willingness to learn so that we can benefit our businesses and even our personal investments. We hope by the end of today's conversation, we will leave with deeper insights, practical tools, and a renewed commitment to positioning our businesses not just for compliance, but for resilience and long-term success. So once again, I would like to thank you for joining us today and ask you to please remain connected as we go on this short break. We'll be right back after this time out. Thank you.
Graduates or graduates, why gives your life a design to follow? Why do you do what you do? Why are you existing? Do you know what it takes to be great? It takes the answer to the question, why?
Hello everyone, welcome.
Thank you. Our guest for today's show is already in the house, patiently waiting for us to
The one commodity that is most valuable on this earth is time. time to love, time to live. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. I don't think you quite caught that. Let me say it again. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. Some happen faster, some happen slower. Some of us help them go faster, and some of them prevent it from happening sooner than later. How many seconds, how many minutes do we waste every day doing things that are nowhere near the goals and aspirations and passions that we have inside? How many times do you go through the course of a day and realize, did I do anything I set out to do today? Write down those goals each and every day. No matter if it's 2 goals a day, if you can accomplish those, then you're doing more than just making it through the day. You are living and achieving your dreams. Find time to better yourself. Read, explore, research. Live life. Do things you've never thought of doing before. That's what it's all about. When you're born, that's that date that they put on the left side of the tombstone. When you die, they put another date on the right side of the tombstone. But that dash in the middle is the most important thing on that tombstone. That is a line that throughout that entire time frame, you were able to impact and touch others' lives.
So sorry. It's one of those things.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, we had a power disruption. Okay, so I was about introducing our guest, and our guest for today is Funsho Olagunju. Funsho is a highly analytical and result-driven professional with nearly a decade of experience in managing tax processes, ensuring compliance, and maximizing revenue generation as a tax administrator, demonstrating a proven track record of optimizing processes and driving efficiency. Possessing a strong foundation in statistics, she recently transitioned into the field of data science and artificial intelligence to develop technological skills in solving industry problems. Our expertise spans the entire data life cycle, from data extraction and cleaning to insightful analysis and actionable recommendations. Currently pursuing an MBA in information technology, further enhancing her ability to leverage technology for strategic decision making and innovation. She is adept at bridging the gap between technical expertise and business objectives with a focus on delivering data-driven solutions that contribute to organizational growth and operational excellence. She currently works with the Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, leading a staff strength of 35 in road tax operations within the state. Funsho has HND and PGD in statistics since 2015 She became an associate of Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, ACTI, in 2021. She has certification in data science and AI, and she's currently rounding up on her MBA on information technology. Please join me in making welcome our special guest for today, Mrs. Funsho Olagunju. Funsho, you are most welcome to connect.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you for having me. It is an
Welcome.
honor again.
Okay. Please, you may need to check the other device. It's like it's causing interference at the
No,
background.
the device is not connected. It's not
Okay,
connected, Ma.
okay. I'm hearing some echo. Let's see how it's here. So we go straight to the interview segment by asking, what does business readiness for tax really mean in practical terms for SME and larger corporations?
All right, Ma. Thank you for having me. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Clearly, yes.
All right. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, everybody. Yes, it's an honor to come again on this discussion. Straight to the question that was um, business readiness for taxation. In practical terms, there has been a lot of reforms, discussion in the public space about tax reform. And a small business owner or even some corporations that are not used to the term taxation might find it difficult to really put this into perspective. So practically, for businesses, business readiness for tax simply means bookkeeping, documentation, proper culture for people. I'm going to give an example of small businesses. For people in small or medium-sized businesses, it's more of a one-man show, more of I do what I feel like or what is trending now. And some of them don't even have records. A business like that is not ready for tax. A business like that is not keying into the discussion in public space about what is about to happen come January 1st, 2026. So for businesses, business readiness for tax simply means putting system, processes, culture in place that ensure proper bookkeeping, recording, documentation, accounting of income and expenses. With this, then we can say this business is getting ready for tax, especially next year, as we are all expecting.
Yes. So, what are the key elements of a good tax readiness strategy that businesses often overlook? Because I think some people are filled with trepidation now, with January coming closer.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ma. In fact, a friend chatted me up some days ago and said, "This your tax thing. I'm afraid, though. Like there's fear in the land. People are jittery of what is coming." And my one of my boss will always say, "The fear of a taxman is the beginning of
It's the beginning
compliance."
of wisdom.
A taxman is not somebody you play with. So, but in actual practical strategy that business can put in place to ensure that, or for them to know that they are tax ready, is to do a kind of, I call it a scenario play with their details or their numbers. I see it as a business that has been in operation. You should be able to know what your profit is after a year. You should be able from your record, if you are keeping proper accounting documents, you should be able to know this is what I make last year. These are my expenses. These are the things I use in generating this income. So if a taxman had to come to me now and ask me, what is your income? I should be able to present that with evidences. proper invoices, and other things that is needed for tax. So practically speaking, without all these big grammars in the here, is for businesses to document what they do and keep a record. With that, then you're on your way. That's a strategy already to mitigate against all this fear that is in the land. Another thing is to engage with experts in this field. Someone will say, I don't even know what tax is. I don't know what am I to pay. Or they will say, does one man business pay tax? And I will say, yes, as long as you're making income, you are to file return and be taxed appropriately. So some businesses don't even know what tax is applicable to them. Another thing, after keeping your proper record, you should be able to know the taxes you are liable to, the taxes that should be that you should be paying to government. Another thing is make sure that you are following the timelines, the things you are to do on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. You don't joke with them. An example is filing your returns between January and March of every year. Some businesses don't know this. And by the time the assessment officer come and serve you a bill, you like, where do you see me do business? How do you know I can pay tax? Because you are not used to filing. Or you have some staff that work with you, small businesses that have people like 3, 4, 5 working with them. And for example, if at least the law says that if you have a staff strength above 6, you should be deducting payee from their salary and remit this before the 10th of the following month. Some business don't know these timelines. And so if they don't remit after that period, there is a letter coming to ask for penalty and interest on what they don't even know. So these are strategies that businesses can employ or put in place to ensure that they are ready for tax.
Thank you very much for that. I'm sure some people will be saying that, okay, you are talking of maximum 6 when you have more than 6 people or 5 people. Now, is there a basic salary that would entitle, because you know some people they have all this lower end, they even getting less than the
Minimum
recommended
wage.
minimum wage. So probably they'll think if I have to take tax from these people's money, it's going to cause problem. How do you explain that to people in that category? Like these petty traders that just have about few casual staff, I would say. No, some of them are not even documented staff.
Yes. Okay, ma. All right, ma. Yes, what the law says presently, 2025, as we speak, as of today, the law that we are still working with for personal income tax is so people earning below 300,000 and per annum are not to pay PIT. That is, anybody you have in your employment, anybody that is working with you, and at the end of the year, their total income is not up to 300,000. They are not taxed for PIT. They are not to pay tax. But the new tax reform has changed that. And what the new bill is saying is come 1st of January 2026, that income has been increased to 800,000. That means by January 1st, anybody that is not earning up to 800,000 in your employment will not pay personal income tax. So the new bill is actually doing so much good for the low income earners. Somebody that is earning below 800,000 is termed to be a low income earner. So the people that are earning above that are people that will be paying PIT as the year unfolds. But if you keep your record very well, you will be able to know if you are paying tax or you are not going to pay tax, even before the taxmen come to visit you.
So the key thing for us to note SMEs is keeping our records intact. It's very simple. I know it can
Very
be done.
important.
Yeah, I know it can be daunting in this part of the world, because simple things such as purchasing, getting receipts for purchases. When you ask for receipts, me that I'm so wired, I can ask for receipt for 10 naira. If you ask for receipt, they look at you like you are committing a crime. Receipt for what? How much did you buy? You know.
This is
So
becoming
simple
very
things like
important
that
now. You have to
also.
collect receipts.
Yes,
Yes.
because that is part of your record. A
Yes.
taxman will not want to believe, oh, this is what I purchased as expenditure for what generated this revenue and this and that without proof. So it is important for us to keep our record. If we have not been doing that, this is the time to start practicing or getting tutored on how to do that. Thank you very much for that explanation. Now, part of this is what we can term tax planning. How can businesses strike a balance between aggressive tax planning and compliance with the law? Mark my word, tax planning, not evasion. So,
Yes. Actually, in taxation, there's actually a thin line between tax planning and tax evasion. Because if you are not careful,
yeah,
you will plan and you will get to the other side. You will so much plan. You know, the natural taxpayer, like we call them, nobody wants to pay
you want to
tax.
pay tax,
Even for
exactly.
in employment, if they should give you your whole salary and now tell you bring tax out of it, a lot of them will fly. They won't pay. So that thing is deducting at source. Now
Ourselves, yes.
imagine a businessman, a direct employment that's supposed to file his tax. Everything, the person will want to do everything possible to reduce their tax liability. They want to do everything possible to not pay or just pay a little. You understand? So that is where tax comes in. But within the law, there are so many incentives. There are so many provisions that has been made, especially with this new reform, to encourage small businesses. What I encourage people to do is to know these things. When you keep your record, we have all established that it starts from keeping a proper record
Yeah.
and know what you're liable to pay. Now, when you do that, then you know some incentive that is accruable to you. I'm going to give example of somebody that deals with educational material. If you are producing educational material, you note that those material you produce are not vatable. That means you are not paying VAT on that. There are some businesses that when you charge in Nigeria, either you are a company or a business owner, one-man business person, when you are giving your receipts, any value that you are adding to a product, as long as the product is not in its rot state, once you have added value, you have to charge VAT on that transaction, which is 7.5%. And this you are to remit to the Federal Inland Revenue Service as at now. Now, for businesses that don't know this, they will be accumulating liability under VAT. Now, some businesses are operating with products or services that are zero rated. That means there is no VAT on them. There are some that VAT exempt. They are not to pay VAT on them. So if you know that is already an incentive for you, that means you're not paying tax on those things. You're not paying value added tax on those things. So tax planning has to be in accordance with the law. You cannot plan what the law has not made provision for. You are to plan in accordance to the law. If you keep with the law, then it will not result into evasion. But like I said, you also have to engage proper tax experts in this area and also have dedicated hand even within your businesses. If you have well-trained staff that can handle this for you, it is very good. So that at the end of the day, your planning will not result into evasion.
That is very important because this, some of the things you touched on are things some businesses do not know. And like they say, ignorance is no excuse in law. So it is, we have ample time. That's why we are actually treating this topic. We have ample time now as small business owners to make sure that we find out things that are not very clear to us in terms of our business operation. And like our guest said, to seek expert opinion. The taxman, the accountant that is out there, if you cannot engage one fully, you can do it on a need to have basis. I need further explanation. This is the business I'm into. What and what are my options? What should I do? What are my obligations? Because this is very important. Like she said, there's a thin line between tax planning, which we all want to engage in, and tax evasion. Tax planning can be avoidance, which is legal, but evasion is not legal, it's criminal. So we have to be sure that we are not caught in between out of ignorance, not because we are willingly trying to evade tax, but because we are not about to, I mean, we are not having enough information or the right knowledge, so to say. Not necessarily having to send you back to school. If you are not able to gather enough knowledge yourself, you can always rely on the services of the tax experts, the accountants, to make sure that they help you and you get yourself sorted and ready for this eventuality. Like they said, what two things are sure: death and tax. So there's
Very
no
sure.
running, there's no running away from it. It's going to happen. So it's better for us to get ready. So that is my advice in that area. Now, I know maybe with the we are having interference. I don't know where it's coming from. Anyway, so I know maybe with this new task coming into effect January, from January 2026, we may have minimized uh, all this up and down we have with taxes that usually even as affect some people in paying tax. So how do frequent changes in tax laws and policies affect the ability of businesses to remain tax ready?
Wow. Yes, ma'am. Like I said earlier, for businesses, for so many businessmen in Nigeria, it is not really easy to comply with tax laws. Now, let's bring it down to when there is now changes, frequent changes. This year, there's a law, and next year, they're expecting another one. Then it becomes worrying for them. They've not really understand the basics, and we are trying to bring in an improved version of it. But at the end of the day, is to engage with communication. As a tax administrator, I see that tax office is somewhere people don't want to visit. It's somewhere people they don't even want to see, do anything with you. If you're not careful, if you have friends, once they know that you're a taxman, there is a kind of high they will be using to look at you. You understand? But these people are there to attend to your issue. Tax office should be somewhere you can go to. So I'm saying that businesses should visit offices if they are not clear about these laws. It is a new reform. There are new information out there, a lot of complications, but these are the experts that can break it down for you. Now, if you will not go to those tax office, then engage with experts, do consultation, read. For this new tax reform that has been signed, it was signed in June. From June till now, there's been a lot of discussion in public space. One of it is what we are doing today. There's been a lot of discussion. There's been a lot of write-ups on social media, on TikTok, as it might be, that you think is just for gist and all that. There's so many educational content going on. Engage with it. Listen to it. Gather information. And if you are not clear, seek clarity, consultation from experts so that you know. Because like mommy said initially, if you are caught on the wrong side, there's nothing like I don't know. Ignorance is not an excuse, and we know that tax evasion is punishable under the law. You will be slammed with your liability, you will pay, there will be penalties and interest, and you could even lose your
Some freedom self. Hello? Hello? I think network. I believe she was trying to talk about the penalties for being on the wrong side of the law. And I was just adding to that that you can even lose your freedom depending on the gravity of the offense. So it is advisable for us to be wise and not to be caught on the other side of the law. I will, before her network stabilize, I will just quickly say this. Um, yes, we have said if you are not sure or you do not have the requisite knowledge yourself, you can seek advice from the experts, the tax practitioner, the accountant around the block, and all that. In addition, you can go to tax offices near you because I've been seeing a lot of that tax office right now, like making more tax offices available. The smaller ones, smaller unit, but tax office, uh, no doubt, because it's better than to allow yourself to be taken advantage of, which is possible with some practitioners or scrupulous um, collectors or agents of the government. So we need to be wise. We have ample time. We still have 3 clear months to do the needful to make sure that we are well equipped. If we cannot do the sourcing ourselves, let us seek the help of the experts. Okay, before our guest comes back, I think the internet is really bad at yanked her off. The natural progression from this is to look at the aspects of the tax authorities and government agencies, just like I touched on now. What are their roles in ensuring that people do not fall into this trap, that is by avoiding to pay tax? Because some of these practices that some of us are aware of, okay, she's back. So trying to I was just trying to take the next progressive point on the one you landed on in terms of seeking assistance from tax authority. And I'm not saying, because from what some of us as business owners have experienced, even some of these tax agents, government agent, tax agents, they are also a problem on their own. They, I mean, truth be told, they take advantage of unsuspecting small business owners that are not too versed in this act. So the question now is, what role do tax authorities and government agencies play in supporting or hindering tax readiness? Because what we are talking about today is to get ourselves ready to be in compliance with the tax laws.
All right, man. Thank you. Yes, I am a tax administrator, so I will speak that yes, there could be some persons that might have selfish or ulterior motive when discharging their duty, but every tax professional is held to a standard by the institution that authorized their operation. There is a standard that a tax professional should be held to. A tax professional should be professional in whatever they do. They should be, as much as possible, help taxpayer to understand what the law says, what they are to pay. That is from their part. But as a business owner, you are the one that is being assessed to tax now. If you know your numbers, for example, I do a transaction of 10 million naira in a year, and out of this, I have an expenses of 4 million naira, and the profit I'm having at the end of the year is only 6 million naira. If the tax office is coming with a bill on 10 million naira or more than that for me, I have my record to show that this is where I am. Most times, business owners don't file returns. Business owners don't declare honestly. And so tax administrator have this third sense of best of judgment assessment. I asked you, what do you make? And you are downplaying the information. You are not giving me the correct numbers. Then I go with best of judgment. Or you don't even give me anything at all. I can mirror you and compare you to another business, a similar business to you, and give you an assessment. You understand? But if as a business owner, you declare, you file your returns, you declare your income appropriately, and you have evidence of your records to back this up, whatever the tax authority gives to you, you can counter it. That is why there's a provision for objection in the law. You can object to whatever is being given to you, but you know that you are objecting with your facts and figures. You are objecting with your evidences. You are objecting with your business records, your sales invoice, your cash books, your bank statement, everything at the end of the day are saying the same thing. Then the tax authority will have no choice than to go with the truth which you are presenting. But in a case where business owners don't have record to file, then the authority will just have to do something they feel. That's why it is judgment assessment. It is their judgment based on how they see you. But you know, somebody looking at you from outside don't really know who you are. You are the one that will tell your story. You are the one that should tell us who you are. And that is why businesses just have to keep a record. Keeping record is no longer negotiable, either big or large scale. For large organizations, they are just automating it. They are going to the area of auto, because by the time you have large volumes of transaction, how many can you do manually? Then that is where automation comes in for large businesses. But for small business, even if you cannot go into automation now, please keep your records, keep your receipts. When you are issuing receipts, another thing I see with small businesses is some of them even have receipts that they issue to customers, but they don't do it sequentially. You will see a customer coming that they give the receipt 001 to the customer. The next person paying might be collecting 007. So where is 002, 003, 004, 005? As a tax administrator, when tax auditors come, these are the questions they will ask you. Do you have anything to back it up? Do you have an explanation for that? If you don't have explanation for that, it is good for me to assume that you are hiding information. You understand? So at the end of the day, you feel that the tax authority are not really doing well for you, or they are giving outrageous figures. It's because you cannot defend your numbers. You cannot defend your operations. Your operation should be different from your individual life. That is what small businesses lack. They make everything. You see people bringing out money from their business account for personal things, for clothing, for feeding. That should not be from a business account. You understand? So at the end of the day, you are giving even the tax authority a difficult time to process your information. But when you have proper accounting and you are doing things as it should be, it becomes easier for both parties, both the administrator and the people paying.
Thank you very much. You've actually touched on one important point that I wanted to make about using digital tools, accounting software, and maybe doing e-filing system to improve companies' tax readiness and compliance. But like you rightly said, this comes easy for the big corporations, the big businesses, because they have the wherewithal. But the smaller businesses, the SME, micro SMEs that are just struggling to keep up, but now put on the same playing field for this tax purpose. What are the risks of relying solely on manual processes for tax preparation and compliance if they cannot afford
Thank you.
digitalization?
Thank you. This is a question that is bothering both the administrator and the taxpayer. Now, for administrator, imagine I have to review the account of 10,000. Okay, let me put it at even 100 people in a month, or in a month. I just have to review their processes, their account for tax. And at the end of the day, I discovered that they are all operating on manual levels. They are all operating on handwritten documents. It becomes burdensome. It becomes a worry for the administrator. You understand? So for the administrator, digitalization it makes the work simple. Technology has come to better our life, to make our processes more easier, to make things faster. It takes me longer time to process manual transactions than the one that is digitalized. Most of us go to places like ShopRite, like the malls to purchase things. It is easier for them to deduct VAT from their e-invoicing. When you collect your receipt, at the end of it, you see that VAT element has been factored into it. It makes it easier for accountability and even for remittance. But for businesses now, everybody cannot be playing on that level. That is why we have small, medium, and even large scale. Now, for small businesses, what I see is these days, except if you are, even for women in the market, I'm using that not to demean them, but I see that, okay, they might be the one that don't really have this wherewithal to keep record. But I see that they use phones. A lot of them are even on social media now advertising their products. So if you can use phone and you have access to a laptop, as simple as Excel can be, it could be your automation. It doesn't have to be big infrastructure. It doesn't have to be big system. Just document, digitalize your transactions. As your sales girl or anybody is writing it manually, you can translate it into an Excel sheet and it becomes a record for you. Those receipts you use to purchase your inventory or to buy fuel for your generator for the office, you can snap the receipt and save it on your phone, on your Google Drive for safekeep rather than be keeping the papers in the file. The file can get lost. There could be fire incidents, you understand? But once you digitalize it, you snap it as a picture, just like we take selfie, snap it and save it in a phone or online. You know, at the end of the day, if the tax authority are asking for it, it is easy for you to access it. A lot of us now, even wherever you have it, they ask you for some information about your biodata, you can easily click on your phone and bring out those informations. These are tools that businesses should be using, leveraging. That is what automation is in simple terms. It's not only the big systems that is automation. As little as keeping your record and digitalizing it, giving them into soft copies, not only the manual one alone. But for people that cannot even do at all without manual, it is still better to keep the record in manual. When the tax authority comes to you, they know what to do with it. But at least you have a record. And also, you can engage experts on one-on-one basis. You emphasized it the other time. Even if you cannot keep them as permanent staff in your organization or in your business, you can engage them on one-on-one basis. Call an accountant, call an accountant. It might not be the chartered ones. It might be the ones that are still in school in practice. Can you help me establish a proper bookkeeping templates? And you follow that going forward. So you just have to keep your record. You have to make things easier for you and the tax authority. Thank you.
Thank you very much. While you were speaking, we had a contribution from Dr. Asen. Actually, it's in line with what we are discussing, that the first place to start is to teach SMEs on how to keep financial records and the benefits for doing so, even beyond taxation. Because some people will just wonder, is it just to pay tax? It's even beyond that, as I always advise some people. So this is the advice. Even though I know we will get there one day, but it's difficult, Dr. saying, because I've had to interact with people that I keep telling them, those people that are resistant to just even giving receipts, that look, it's for your benefit. If you keep receipts of what you sell, it helps you to, at the end of the month, and maybe if you continue at the end of the year, it helps you to know how you are fared. Even apart from tax, it helps you to know if you are growing in your business. Because if what you make this year is 10 million and next year is 15 million, you know there's an element of growth, but they don't even want to hear it. They are, no, I don't, I know what I'm doing. So, but definitely we will not stop. That's the way to go.
It's more or less like your privacy.
Pardon?
Yes, I was saying that for some of them, they feel that they are exposing themselves to another person, like a public scrutiny.
Yes.
So they
You
rather
want
keep
to know my
that to
secret.
themselves.
You
Yes,
want
you
to
want to
know
know
my
my
secrets
secret.
and all that. So
Mm,
I think it's
yes.
the level of ignorance that we have, but we will get there gradually. In fact, that is one good thing about this tax regime that is coming up. It will force people. It's just like the electricity tariff that has forced people to know that they don't just switch on lights recklessly, like in the days that in the afternoon all the lights are on. But now people will say, ah,
Yes.
you are not, nobody is in that room, put off the lights. So with your band aid,
That
you
is
know you don't want to spend all your money on electricity. So gradually we will get there.
you don't just unlike
Is the right advice to educate, but the problem or still or the challenge is to have people willing to be educated, willing to learn, but by fire by force. But I think we will get there because that's the only way to go. Like you said, even for those that seemingly are not able to digitalize, even in the smallest aspect of digitalization, putting it on the phone. Some people they can only use phone to receive and make call, nothing else. Even for those, keep your hard book or the manual record, and then get somebody to come in once a week to help you put it on this device that we're talking about. So it will help. And those who perhaps because of lack of time can also do the same, even though they are knowledgeable but they don't have the time, can get somebody to come once a week or once in 2 weeks, depending on the frequency of operation. That way, you will achieve the same thing. So, this is quite important to look at. Thank you very much for that. We have been told that uh, just relying on manual, what I get from that, on manual record keeping can be daunting for the tax administrator, and that way this best of judgment that we all run away from, because really and truly the best of judgment in Nigeria sometimes is something else. It deserves another name. It's like, let me bring the hammer, even though you say you are a mosquito, let me bring the hammer to kill you. So then you
But
will
at the
now
end of the day, you open up. Yes, at
you
least
open up
the motive
the,
has been achieved.
exactly,
You
but
don't want to
that's not
talk, now you will talk.
it's
Yes, sir.
like making you. So that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Okay.
Yes.
So it's good to get your records right. So what role, so we have been saying some of this, what role should accountants and tax advisors play in preparing businesses for tax compliance?
Yes, ma'am. Every profession has a kind of um, social good that they do. And for tax practitioners and accountants, I see that one of the best thing you can do for yourself as a professional is to make sure you are educating people. All of us cannot be tax professionals, as all of us cannot be doctors. But in your small circles, in your circle of influence, in your close groups, you can discuss this thing and encourage people to do. You see people gathering in churches, in mosques, in social gathering, neighborhood. Use it as an opportunity to educate them. The tax reform that is going on, the committee on this assignment cannot really reach everybody in Nigeria. But that is why we have practitioners in that field. Use it as an opportunity to educate people in your circle. Offer your professional advice, offer your professional service. And I can say we have a lot of tax experts, tax practitioners in this country. So if all of us are going out, coming on programs like this to educate people, then people will see the need to do the right thing, because there is no hiding place. Come January 2026, there is no hiding place. If they don't get to you in January, they will be at your door in December. If you are not caught in 2026, 2027 is another year. Taxation is here to stay. And it is for social good. I just see, if you are not paying tax, then how do you demand accountability from the government? How do you say that there is bad road? You understand? So you have to just play your part as a professional, as an expert, as a payer. We all have to come together to ensure that the right thing is done and we help the small businesses.
Thank you very much. It's unbelievable how time flies. I cannot believe it. Looking at the clock, the time has gone. I'm not even halfway through the segment. Definitely, there has to be another section, part two, to this very important discussion. We'll let you know when that one will come up. Thank you very much, Funsho, for sharing more insight on this important topic. Like I said, we just have to have a part two. The time is gone. While we were discussing, some people joined us. We have Ayeni Samuel from Lagos, Taiwo Ojo from Abuja, Dr. Aseyin from Abuja, and Dr. Aseyin was one of the one that contributed, and is always a regular contributor on our show. I appreciate all of you for joining, and those that have not been able to mention because of time, please pardon me. We will try and schedule a part two to this very important topic. Because of time, I just have to conclude for now. But in concluding, I want to appreciate highly our guest for today, Funsho. Thank you very much. You've done wonderfully well for us. Look forward to our
Thank you.
invitation to bring you back because we're enjoying this. So as we draw close to draw the curtain on today's discourse on business readiness for tax, it is clear that tax is not just an obligation but also a strategic element of business sustainability. We have seen that readiness goes beyond compliance from our guests. It speaks to planning, documentation, transparency, and the ability to integrate taxation into wider framework of sound corporate governance and our business management. So in an environment where policies shift and enforcement becomes more rigorous, the businesses that will thrive are those that anticipate, prepare, and position themselves proactively, and they are ready. Readiness reduces risk, build credibility with regulators, and enhance investors' confidence. Most importantly, it transforms tax from being a burden to becoming a lever for growth and continuity. Kike Lomo, thank you for joining us. So we are really running out of time. Once again, I thank all of you that have joined us online, and I appreciate our guests for today. And I hope you have enjoyed this episode and you learned one thing or the other. Okay, Kike Lomo made a contribution. Let me quickly go through it. I wish many business owners and professionals can watch this. Okay, yes, we will try, as it's on the YouTube, and we'll try and get a second part to it. Thank you very much for that. So please, till I come your way again, let us prepare with a renewed commitment to strengthen our systems, equip our people, like including our staffs as well, get them trained and embrace technology so that our businesses will remain tax compliant, resilient, and future ready. So on that note, we'll anchor, we'll leave the show for today till we come your way again. Stay blessed and get ready for tax compliance. God bless you.